I never planned to tell this story, but my chest has carried this pain for too long. And maybe, just maybe, if I release it here, the world will finally understand what it means to give everything for love and still end up empty. I met him during my second year in Polytechnic. His name was Martins. Tall, calm, the kind of man that smiled with his eyes. He wasn't the most handsome in class, but there was something about him that drew me. He had this way of speaking, soft, deliberate, almost like he was choosing words from his heart, not his mouth. When he looked at me, I felt like the only girl alive. It started with simple gestures, buying me groundnuts after lectures, carrying my heavy bag, waiting for me by the school gate so we'd walk home together. Before long, we became inseparable. People called us husband and wife in class. We laughed it off, but deep down I loved the sound of it. I loved him, with everything in me. One rainy evening, Martins held my hand and said the words I had been dying to hear. "I can't imagine life without you. You're my everything." I melted. That night, I gave him the one thing I had promised to keep until marriage. I thought it was love. I thought it was forever. I didn't know it was the beginning of my ruin. Weeks later, I missed my period. My heart almost stopped. I told Martins, trembling. I expected fear, anger, or disappointment. Instead, he hugged me. "Don't worry. We'll handle this together. I won't leave you. I promise." Those words were my oxygen. I believed him. I wish I hadn't. The money he gave me wasn't enough for a proper clinic. But I was desperate. The woman we met in a small room behind the market assured me it was safe. She lied. The pain was fire in my veins. I bled for days. I thought I would die. But somehow I survived. Or at least, I thought I did. Months later, I went to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor looked at me with heavy eyes. "Your womb. There are complications. It will be difficult, maybe impossible, for you to conceive." His words stabbed me like broken glass. I froze. Difficult? Impossible? I was only 22. My life had barely started. And just like that, motherhood was snatched from me. When I told Martins, he sat quietly. He held my hand. He whispered, "Don't worry, my love. Even if we don't have children, we'll adopt. We'll build our own family. I'm not going anywhere." I cried on his chest. I believed him again. But promises are cheap, and love is weaker than blood ties in this country. 2 years later, I noticed the changes. The late replies, the sudden excuses, the way he avoided my touch. Then one evening, he didn't even try to hide it. "My mother has been disturbing me," he said. "She wants grandchildren. She says I should marry someone that can give me children. Please understand, it's not me, it's the pressure." I laughed at first, a loud, empty laugh, because it couldn't be true. Not after everything I sacrificed. Not after the blood I shed for him. But it was true. 3 months later, Martins married another woman. A woman his mother chose. A woman with a healthy womb. I watched the pictures circulate among friends. Smiles. A beautiful white gown. A dance floor full of joy. And me? I was in my small rented room, clutching my belly, screaming into a pillow so the neighbors wouldn't hear. Do you know what betrayal feels like? It's not just the heartbreak. It's the memory of every "I love you" that now sounds like a lie. It's the echo of every promise that now feels like a mockery. It's the face of the man you trusted, now smiling with someone else. I wanted to die, and for weeks I prayed for death. But death refused to come. Life, however, kept mocking me. I ran into them once in town. Martin's wife was heavily pregnant. Her face glowed. Her hands rested on the bump of a future I could never give him. He avoided my eyes, but I didn't avoid his. I stared at him, at her, at the life that should have been mine, and in that moment I broke. Completely. People said, "Forget him. Move on. God will do it." But how do you move on from a scar that sits in your own body? How do you erase memories carved into your womb? How do you heal when your very existence reminds you of your loss? That night, I locked my door and cried until my voice disappeared. Then I wrote this in my diary. He left me for another woman after the abortion I did for him damaged my womb. Love killed me. Trust buried me. And hope abandoned me. But this isn't the end of my story, because what happened next shook me to my core. And it proved that fate has a wicked sense of humor.